Hello, my name's Jadine. I'm a user experience designer and I make videos about design, research and accessibility. When I started out in UX, it was different. Even coming from a design background, some of the terminology used on a day-to-day basis was simply new to me. And if you're someone who is just starting out, there can be a lot to learn. In this video, I'll be sharing some of the UX design terms that you should know as a UX designer, beginning with user experience. As a user experience designer, one of the first UX terminologies that you should have mastered is user experience, given your title. You want to be able to give a good explanation during an interview or to explain to someone outside of the design industry what user experience design is. I often explain that user experience design focuses on the interaction between people and everyday products and services, such as websites, apps, and digital tools. UX design is about making the experience of using that product easy and enjoyable for the user being the person who will interact with the product. A lot of work done by a UX designer is less about the visual design and more about the insights that you learn from the users and taking those insights to solve their problems through the design solutions that you create. Much like an architect drawing up the plans to a building versus an interior designer who creates the visual aesthetic within. If you're more passionate about creating user interfaces and the look of a product, then you may be better suited to a career in UI design. Which leads me on to number 2, user interface. User interface, also called UI, is the way in which a person controls a website, app, or machine. A good user interface helps make the user experience easy and intuitive, requiring minimum effort on the user's part to interact with the product in a natural way. User interface is important to meet user expectations and support the effective functionality of a product. When designing a user interface for a product, it's important to consider the user's expectations in terms of accessibility, visuals, and ease of use in order to meet user needs. 3. User-centered design. User-centered design is an iterative process where designers keep the users and their needs in the center of each phase of the design process. Design teams involve users throughout the design process through user research, constantly seeking and acting on their feedback to create highly usable and accessible products for them. Number 4, information architecture. Information architecture defines how content will be organized and presented to a user when they are interacting with your design. Information architecture creates structure for a product that allows users to understand where they are and where the information they want is in relation to their current position. To put it another way, information architecture connects people to the information that they're looking for by organizing things like classification and hierarchy, labels and tagging, navigation, wayfinding, and search. Bad information architecture makes it difficult for users to find what they're looking for, whereas good information architecture makes it possible for a user to focus on their tasks, not on navigating their way around a site. Number 5, personas. Personas are created based upon your user research data, collected during previous research phases, using methods such as user interviews and surveys. Personas are typical users whose goals and characteristics represent the larger group of users. Creating personas help better understand your users' needs, experiences, behaviors, and goals. It can help highlight that different people have different needs and expectations when it comes to using a product. And it can also help you to identify with the users that you are designing for. Number 6, accessibility. Web accessibility is the process of making digital products such as websites and apps and tools accessible to everyone. It's about creating access to the same information for all users, regardless of any disabilities that they may have. Accessibility is all about being inclusive, ensuring that no one is excluded. It also provides a better user experience for everyone, not just people with disabilities. Things like enhanced colour contrast, clear navigation, and ease of use are among some of the accessibility best practices that benefit all users. If you're interested in learning more about accessibility, I have more videos on this that I will link in the description box below. Number 7, user journey. A user journey is a step-by-step journey that a user takes to reach their goal, and these user journeys should always be based on research and data. User journeys are used to map out the current journeys a typical user might take to reach their goal. They could be made up of a number of decisions and web pages that take users from one step to another. This journey is then constructed to form an ideal user journey that is intuitive and easy to follow. The output of these user journeys is traditionally a flow diagram, demonstrating each page and decision point throughout the entire process. User journeys feed into a number of activities, including information architecture, wireframing, and prototyping. Number 8, wireframe. Wireframes are visual representations of a website or app, stripped of any visual design or branding elements. You can think of them as a blueprint, a visual guide that represents a skeleton framework of a website or an app. Wireframes are used by UX designers to define the hierarchy of items on a web page and communicate what the items on that page should be based on user needs and user journeys. Wireframes are used in the early development process to establish the basic structure of a page before visual design and content is added. A prototype is an interactive mock-up of a final product, which is used for testing prior to launch. A prototype is used to understand and see how a product or app works, what it does, and how you should interact with it. The goal of a prototype is to test products before you invest a lot of time and money into the final product. There are various methods of prototyping within UX design, from paper prototypes to low fidelity wireframes, and then higher fidelity prototyping and mockups. Depending on the types of problems that you're trying to solve, you'll most likely know which prototyping method to use. And this is especially relevant at the different stages of the design process. The earlier on, the lower the fidelity tends to be the pattern that is followed. When I create a prototype, I upload designs to InVision and create interactive hotspots where users can click through the design. One of the main purposes of building a prototype is to test whether or not the flow of a product is smooth and consistent. Creating a prototype allows UX designers to do exactly that. And finally, number 10, user research. I recently shared quite a lot on user research, and I found it something that I've become quite passionate about. So user research, to explain, is the process of understanding user behaviours, needs, preferences, and motivations by using various observation and feedback collection methods in order to test hypotheses, assumptions, and solutions. Depending on the structure of your company, this will inform how involved you are with user research. If there is not a dedicated UX researcher, this could become an important part of your role, as every new project begins with research. As a UX designer, you will need to utilize the best user research methods in order to discover user needs. I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you now better understand some of the important UX design terminology. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more UX content. If you have any questions about UX design terms, drop them in the comments below, and I've left links in the description to different resources and videos on some of the terms that I've mentioned if you want to learn more. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!